Hi, I'm Power Monkey, and in this tutorial video I'm going to be teaching you about if statements. So if statements are basically just going to run a chunk of code, but only if specific conditions are true. So I'll make a little note for you if you want. So we're going to move on to the first if and then. So if then, you're basically going to put your argument here, and then if that condition is true, then it will move on and it will perform the code that's inside that chunk. So for example, if we do if 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, then we can do print 2 plus 2 is 4. If you don't understand what the mathematics signs that I'm using, you can go watch the tutorial video I did on arithmetic operators. And if you don't understand these relational operators as well, I also did a tutorial on that. Because this condition is true, it will move on to this and it will print this part over here. So I'll give you another example. However, this time the condition will not be met, so it's going to be false. So we're going to do 2 plus 1 is equal to 10. Then print 2 plus 1 is 10. So this is not going to print, so will not print. This is false, so it's not going to move on to this chunk of code, so it's going to ignore this and it's just going to move on to whatever we have next. So now let's move on to else if then. Let's take this one over here and then we do this, and then we do else if 4 plus 4 equals 8, then we can go here and then we can do print 4 plus 4 is 8. However, this, even though this is true, this is not going to print, and that is because this is true. So it's going, if 2 plus 2 is 4, then do this chunk of code, and then it's not going to check if all of them are correct or not. It's just looking for the first correct condition. So this is correct, so it's just going to run this. However, if this was not correct, then it would then check the next one to see if that is correct, and if it is, then it would print that. If not, then it will go on to the next and so on. So it goes from top to bottom. And if it is, it doesn't even bother to read this, it doesn't care, it's found what is true and it executes that chunk of code right here. So this will not print. However, if we do if 2 plus 1, we're going to do equals 10 again, then print, let's just copy and paste this, it'll be quicker. Then we can do else if 4 plus 4 equals 8, then print, we can copy this actually, this will print this time. So it's going to go, is 2 plus 1 equal to 10? No, it's not, so it's going to move on to the next conditional statement. So it's going to go else if 4 plus 4 is equal to 8, then print this, because this is the code that I've put in this chunk right here. So it will print this because this was false, so it's moving on to the next one, checking if it's true, and it is, so it's found it, and it's going to execute this chunk of code. So for example, if I take this again, paste that here, however change this second one, let's do 4 multiplied by 4 equals 8, which it doesn't. So we're going to do 4 multiplied by 4 is 8. So this will not print either. So what it's going to do is that it's going to go, is 2 plus 1 equal to 10? No, it's not, so it's going to move on to the next one. Is 4 multiplied by 4 equal to 8? No, it's not. Is there a next one? No, there's nothing else here, so it's just going to move on to whatever you have under here if you have anything else. So now let's move on to the last one, which is else. So for example, we can do if 8 minus 8 is equal to 8, then print 8 minus 8 is 8. So will not print. So this isn't going to print, and we can have an else, and then it's going to print. Over here we can print 8 minus 8 is not 8. So this will print. Is 8 minus 8 equals 8? No, it's not. So it's going to go move on to this, and this is else. So it's basically saying if this is true, do this, and if it's not true, then do whatever is here, because that is what the else statement is for. So for example, if we do if 6 divided by 6 is equal to 1, then we can do print 6 divided by 6 is 1. So this will print, and then we can have an else, print 6 divided by 6 is not is not 1. So this will not print, because as I've said before, it goes in order. So it's finding the first one that is true, and is 6 divided by 6 equal to 1? Yes, it is. So it's going to print this, it's going to run this chunk of code, and then it's going to move on to something else after this if statement. So let's do one last example. So we're going to do if 2 to the power of 2 is equal to 100, then we can do print 2 to the power of 2 is 100. So will not print. And then we can have an else if over here if you want. Then we can do else if 10 divided by 5 is equal to 80. Then print 10 divided by 5 is 80. So will not print this. And then we can have an else, print, and then let's copy and paste this over here, and have an and then take this and print this. So what it's doing here is going, is 2 to the power of 2 equal to 100? No, it's not. So it's not going to print this. Let's move on to the next conditional statement. So else if 10 divided by 5 is equal to 80, then print this. No, it's not. So it's moving on to the last one, and it's an else. So it's obviously going to run this code because both of these are false. And it's saying if everything else is false, then do this. You can also have a bunch of else ifs. You can only have one if in a whole if statement, and then you can add as many else ifs as you want. So we can do else if 7 plus 7 is equal to 14, then print 7 plus 7 is 14. So it will print this. So this will not print anymore because it has found something that is true. So it's running this chunk of code, and then it's done. It's not going to carry on. So you can essentially have as many else if statements as you want. You can only have one if and one else. So now you should be able to use if statements, and now you can incorporate if statements into your code. So yeah, I hoped you liked this video. If you did, please like the video and subscribe. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!